So welcome back to Cooking with Sarah. We're going to make some naan bread, and so let's go. So the first ingredients we need is dry active yeast. You mix that with a little bit of water and let it sit until it starts to kind of do its own thing, starts to bubble. We end up having to whisk it because it started to clump a little bit right after we added the water. You don't have to add that step if you don't have that issue, but do let it sit until it starts to bubble, and do follow the instructions on the back of your yeast packet because different style yeasts act differently. So all of our ingredients is sugar, water, flour, salt, olive oil, plain yogurt, 1 egg, and the dry yeast. So So when we wait for the yeast to do its thing, we added flour and salt to a separate bowl and let it sit while we waited. Then we added the yogurt, the olive oil, and the egg to the yeast mixture and then whisked it together until 100% blended, and it kind of looks a little weird. Then you slowly pour the mix into your liquid mix into your dry. Do not use a whisk to mix it. Mistakes were made. It got clumped in there. Use a wooden spoon or a spatula. It took us a couple of seconds to remove all the dough from our whisk. Mistakes were made. But it should start to dough up after a few minutes. And if necessary, you can always use your hands to do it. We ended up doing that just because it ended up being easier to fully mix once it looked like all the dry ingredients had been mixed with the wet. But personal preference. And if you have kids, you should have them mix this with their fingers because, well, it gets them doing something. And fun. And it's one less step you have to do. So when you're done mixing and it looks really like dough, let it sit for about an hour covered, so that way it can double in size. And then when that is done and you let it sit for its time, then you can cut it and cook it up. After your hour, you flour a work surface and gently roll the dough out. Then you cut it into the sizes you want, so that way you have your dough balls and you know how many naan breads you're going to make. I found that for 2 people, the single recipe works, but for anybody over that, you kind of want to double or triple your recipe, depending on who you're eating with. With kids, you may not need to, but with 4 or 5 actual adults, you probably want to. We ate this with our curry and it was amazing. So when you go to cook it, you want a non-stick pan and cook it on high heat and just kind of let it sit there. Don't mess with it until it starts to bubble. Check the underside, and if it looks golden, then you can flip it and do the same thing to the other side. And then once it's done, you can pull it off and let it sit and cool for a couple of minutes, just so that when you bite in, it's not melting in your mouth, but it's fabulous when it's still warm. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you know when I upload more videos, whether it's cooking or sewing or video games. So see y'all in the next video. Peace.